Welcome to the Ben and Walker Movie Show. I am your co host, Ben Davis, joined by my other co host, Walker Holt, and we're excited to have a conversation with you about one of our favorite things in the world movies. If this is your first time being here with us, welcome. We are so glad to have you. And while you're here, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the latest content that we have for you guys. And if you enjoy your time with us today, please leave us a like, share us around, and comment down below with your thoughts on today's show. This is our weekly show where we break down movies and TV news that interest us, discuss trailers, and talk about some things that we've been watching. And since this is our first show of the new year, there's a lot that we've been watching. We've had quite a bit of a break. But before we get to all that, Walker, how you doing, man? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while. It feels good to
Yes.
be back on the air. And new year, new pod, new us. We're gonna
Same us. It's same us.
yeah. Had a great Christmas. Watched a lot of Christmas movies. Watched a lot of non-Christmas movies. Had we hosted Christmas. I talked about that a little bit last year before we took a break. Went well, successful.
Good.
Everyone came and left happy. Ate good food, gave good gifts, enjoyed ourselves. New Year's was fun. I'm kind of on a kick now. I'm on a health kick.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, this is pretty new for me. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing to put out there in the world, but I mean, if you took
Hey,
me,
it's your fitness journey, man. There's no shame or no need to be embarrassed about anything.
well, I mean, if you took me a year, if you took me 14 months ago, okay, I mean, I'd never read like a nutritional label in my life. Never cared. Never, no real idea. Like if you were like, how many calories do you have in a day? It's like, I don't know. People say 2,000. It could have been 10,000. I have no clue. I mean, I had no idea. Never paid attention, never cared. It was never a priority to me. And then when I was going to get married, or when I was at this time 15 months ago, I was getting married soon, and I was like, well, I definitely want to like lose some weight for the wedding, for the photos and stuff. And I kind of went on a kick of doing this and that to try to head down a healthier path in my life. And I was like, well, I'll lose some weight for the wedding, for the pictures. And I did. And I mean, in about 3 months, I lost like 30 pounds, quite
Yeah,
a bit, and pretty quickly. And
it's impressive.
I, really all I did was I was like, I just read the calories. I just learned what they were. You know what I mean? And I was
Did
like,
you
all
have like an
right.
app that you like kept
No,
track of everything with, or?
not at this point, not at all. No, I mean, all I did was my goal at that point was I just want to be aware of it. So, like, I mean, I knew it would create guilt and create like a awareness and like some value, and I
Some
just like
accountability? Yeah.
yeah, I went to like I mean, like I would the apps make it pretty easy, like Chick-fil-A app or something. Like I'll read what I normally eat, and I'm like, God, like, and then it's easy to make swaps because you're like, oh, my normal meal at Chick-fil-A is 2,100 cal. Oh my God, you know what I mean? And you can be like, well, I could easily swap that for diet. I could swap that for something else, and this. Oh, now we got it to 1,300. You know what I mean? And then it was like, then it became like a game kind of what the best value I could get in the meal.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
found like a meal at Chick-fil-A I liked, a meal at Kava I liked, and a couple other things that I ended up just putting on repeat and just eating over and over and over again. And I was not counting calories, so I was eating and drinking stuff in between that I wasn't paying attention to. But in general, my main stuff was lower, and I lost a lot of weight quickly. And then I got married, and that kind of felt like a finish line, and I crossed it, and I just gained it all back. I mean, it
Yeah,
came
that's what
right back.
happens, man. That's what happens if you work toward a goal and then you just stop and you don't
Yeah.
maintain it. It comes back then it comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, and it I didn't even really like notice it until October time. I mean, I knew I wasn't where I was at the wedding time, but October time, I hurt my back playing
Yeah, I
softball,
remember you telling me about
which
that.
still hurts,
No.
and then went through Halloween candy like it was drugs. I went through Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden, by that point, we talked about it last year. Now that it was like, it's just not the right time. I'm going to get on it on January 1st. But now I am being very meticulous and counting. I'm keeping up with calories and protein. I've reintroduced some new characters: protein, sugar, and fiber, just to kind of
Ooh,
just to
nice.
kind of just people around me are educating me. My brother-in-law is a personal trainer, or he's like a director of personal trainers, and then my our friend Cody has given me some advice,
Oh yeah.
and he's very smart. We've just gotten a lot of information, and we've reintroduced protein to like keep me full during these times, and like now it's turned into like how much protein bang can I get for my calorie buck? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I spent 700 calories on that meal. How much protein did I get out of it? And to keep
Yeah.
me full throughout the
Now they
day.
say usually it's 1 gram per pound of body weight. But if you're trying to lose weight, it should be the goal that you're striving to hit, the protein intake.
Mhm.
Or you can do it like I do, because I know my fat percentage. You can do 1 gram per pound of lean muscle mass, which is what I'm currently doing right now. I'm much like yourself. I'm trying to lose some weight. I got up to about 215, which is
Mhm.
heavy for me. I'm trying to get down
Mhm.
to about 190, see how I
Yeah.
feel. And if I can feel like I could probably get down to 5 more pounds, I will. And then I will start building back up till I get to about 205, 210, more lean.
Yeah.
And then I will do a bodybuilding show, my next one, which
Hmm.
I'm aiming to do or start prep in 2025 around this time next year.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
But
it's a
that's
goal,
about it,
man.
man.
Hopefully I get there.
I've been on that kick this new year. I've been exercising in the mornings, which is tough. We were just talking about you exercising in the mornings. I I'm not going to bed any earlier, and I'm waking up earlier. My sleep's starting to get hurt. I need to go to bed earlier. It's just
Sleep,
so hard to make
yeah.
myself do it.
Sleep is a big thing, man, especially for recovery. Set like a time, go to bed. Make sure you get at least, your what is it, your 9 hours, they say usually.
Yeah, I think 8. I mean, I've been getting like 6, like under 7 lately,
Yeah.
and I think I need at least probably 8. I mean, I'm just sore, and also I've been doing the Apple Fitness on the TV that hooks like up to your watch and stuff. And I don't have any
Yeah.
equipment, so I've just been doing. You can filter it down by like duration, how hard you want to work, what equipment you have, and I've assigned no equipment. So pretty much every exercise is core and legs every time, or like interval training. So like my legs, my ass, my core, my back are killing me,
My
and
legs, my back. Yeah, sorry, I'll stop.
so from Spencer, our other friend, we I just borrowed some 10-pound dumbbells. I might get some like some upper. I might try to break up the same thing every day because I think I need some more recovery because I mean I
Yeah,
can't get my
and
socks on in the morning.
yeah, you need to build up the volume, for your legs. You can't. It's like you're not gonna grow. You're not gonna get anything of value out of your training if you are constantly training that one body part. The body part needs rest.
Yeah.
Um,
So how was your Christmas?
it was great. Had a wonderful time. Just stayed here. Zoe's Christmas was very cool. It was very special. This was like her first year, like realizing that Santa Claus came and everything like that, and it was really nice. I had recorded like a 10-minute video of her waking up in the morning and then her walking out and seeing everything, and it was really cool. And she, like every kid, got overwhelmed, and it took her about 2 days to open up every present. But because she would open one thing and she would get hyper fixated on that one thing, and then she would
Hmm.
open another one. It was really, really cool. New Year's was fun. Didn't do anything too crazy on New Year's. My in laws came up. Amy and Larry had a great time with them. Always do. Watch the Ohio State game. I am unfortunately just really bad luck when I watch Ohio State play with Larry, my father-in-law. It is they lose every time him and I get together and watch Ohio State. They always lose, and I think I'm just bad luck. I think that's what it is, and I'm very sorry, Larry, if you're listening to this. But yeah, had a wonderful time on New Year's. We watched Adam Sandler rom coms,
Hmm,
so that was fun. That was fun, and drank and I drank a little bit. I didn't drink too much. Had me a Dragon's Milk. That's usually my go to.
very cool.
Dragon's Milk, and then a couple Guinness because I like Guinness too. Um, but yeah, man, holidays are great. Got the collector's edition of Avatar: The Way of Water. Watched the special edition or the special features, all of them on that. That was really really cool to see what
Nice.
all went into making that movie. Maybe one day we'll do a deep dive on it. But yeah, it was a
Did you watch the
special.
movie again?
No, well, actually, yes, I did. We watched it on New Year's Eve before we watched The Wedding Singer and 51st Dates.
Nice.
We just kind of had it on in the background, and yeah, it was really cool.
Throw back to my first episode.
Yeah, man. About a year ago.
It's day after Christmas. We recorded
Yep.
it.
Yep. It was it was so good. We had to go back and we had to just change the show. You changed the dynamic of the show with that episode, man. You were so good. But Walker, enough about us. Let's get into some news here. We only have like one news item that we're going to cover. There's been a lot of news that's come out, but there is just so much that we've watched. We limited it to just one news story so we can get into giving you guys our thoughts on the new movies and stuff that we've seen. But this news that we are discussing today it's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. It's the Mandalorian and Grogu, and they're headed to the big screen. This is coming from StarWars.com. They're the people that broke this. The Mandalorian and Grogu are embarking on a new adventure to the movie theaters, directed by Jon Favreau and produced by Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni. The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is I'm assuming will be the title of it, will go into production in 2024. So this year, that's a big turnaround. The Mandalorian and Grogu will lead Lucasfilm's ongoing feature development slate, including films helmed by Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy, James Mangold, and Dave Filoni, who is currently developing Ahsoka season 2 among those in the works. And I know there was some confusion. Well, I've seen some people saying, "Well, is this movie replacing Dave Filoni's movie?" And it's like, no. Read further down the article; they clearly state Dave Filoni's movie is still in active development. Besides, I mean, he's like the creative honcho over there now, so I'm pretty sure they're not going to axe his movie. It
Yeah,
also
that was a
stated.
good.
It also should be stated that in Deadline, at present, the fourth season of this hit TV series is also still in development. So there's still kind of some up in the air on season 4 of Mandalorian. But what are your thoughts on this,
I mean, it's
Walker?
awesome,
Where do you stand?
and exactly what you just said. It's good news to know it's not replacing anything. It's a new thing. Like we're still getting Filoni's
Hmm.
Avengers movie, whatever you're gonna call. I'm not gonna call it the Avengers movie, but you know what I'm saying. The
Yeah,
climactic event between
yeah.
all of the simultaneous shows.
What has been dubbed the Filoniverse.
It seems like we're all the other movies that we expect to happen are gonna happen. I like hearing. I mean, it's gonna be great. I mean, Mandalorian's awesome. It's one of my favorite Star Wars shows. And I'm trying to think. It's definitely top three for me. It might be top two, and maybe number one. I don't know. I love Andor too, and I like Ahsoka a lot. But I also glad that it seems like we may still be getting more show out of it too. I just love. They said that this story would. will make sense on the big screen, like as a movie. They like to tell this
Yeah.
story.
Well, the way I look at it is this: like, it's still like kind of up in the air if we're gonna get that season 4 or this is replacing season 4. It's not really clear in this article that dropped. But deadline's hearing that they're still moving forward. I That would be weird to do the movie and then go back to the TV show. I know X Files did it, but that to me that feels weird.
So you think that the movie's gonna be the end of the Mandalorian series, and then
I don't think it'll be the end of the series. I think if you look at the end of season 3, it's kind of like the perfect bookend to the series, right? You have Mando sitting in his rocking chair on the front porch while Grogu's levitating frogs, out of the little pond in front of their house. It's the perfect bookend to the series, and that ending kind of pivoted or made a way for them to take Mandalorian and put it on the big screen, and it's John Favreau doing it. And to me, what this is kind of doing is it's kind of testing the waters before they do what they seem to be doing with Dave Filoni's movie, which is the big climactic ending. They're going to do Mando on the big screen with John Favreau kind of testing the waters to see if you can actually take the TV audience that watches The Mandalorian and put them into the theater. Because that is a hard transition to do. People usually get conditioned to seeing when they see him on TV or anything like that. Well, this is a streaming thing, so I'm going to watch it on TV. It's hard. I'm not saying it's not impossible or it's impossible, but it's a hard thing to do. And you have John Favreau, who spearheaded the MCU with the first outing for them. He was the first outing for live action Star Wars on the big screen, or not on the big screen, but on the TV screen for live action for streaming service. And now you have him taking that property onto the big screen. To me, it just seems like you're testing the waters to see if this Filoni movie can work and earn big bucks. Because at the end of the day, that's what you need to earn. You need to earn the money. So I like the idea that they're taking the Mandalorian and putting it on the big screen. I think Johnny Favs is an excellent director, and I think he can take, because I don't think this movie is going to have a huge budget. I would imagine it'd probably be about $150 million or something like that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
you
I
could
mean,
earn a
I'm excited about it. Obviously, I mean, I want some Star Wars in the theater. I want it
me
bad.
too.
It's been too long. I will say, I did. You know, the Mandalorian season 3 kind of got a little more intentional with its like story arc and stuff. I felt like, even, I mean, whether or not it was your favorite season or not, there was more of like a clear purpose to me in the season, with some like weird filler stuff in the middle there. I understand, but before that, I felt like they really found that good balance of like a serial show. Like, I mean, like a, not quite this, but almost where you could put on any given episode and like not need to know what's going on and like watch the adventures of Mandalorian and Grogu that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a Saturday morning type show. And they kind of balance that really well with the overarching story arc and progression. And I mean, eventually you're gonna have to drive the story. You're gonna have to satisfy Star Wars fans. You're gonna have to push a narrative forward. But so I will miss that if we're done with it. But overall, I'm very excited. I mentioned the title is interesting. It's fine. The Mandalorian and
I
Grogu.
like
I
the
don't.
title. I know I've heard some people say it's not that good, but I mean, The
Yeah.
Mandalorian and Grogu. I mean, you got to put Grogu in the title. That's like the selling point right there. Everyone loves Grogu.
Yeah.
My wife only watches The Mandalorian because of Grogu. You know,
Yeah, I get that. I love Grogu. And I also, what it doesn't do is it doesn't give anything away.
no, it
You
doesn't.
can't call it like the rise of the Mandalorian or like there would be so much like or whatever people would be just theory time all over the place if they're like, so this is clearly going to be about Grogu being like Padawan.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm interested to see because this year we have two Star Wars live action series coming. We have the Acolyte,
Mhm.
which I think is dropping first. I'm not real sure. And
I'm
then
pretty sure that's the first live action on the docket right now. I mean, I think there might be a an animated series before that coming out, like the
yeah, you got the final
skeleton.
season of well, you got Skeleton Crew coming out. I think is supposed to come out in December, and that's the one with Jude Law
Right.
as like some type of space pirate. Which sign me up for Jude Law being a space pirate. That sounds sick. But no, you got the Acolyte, and then you're supposed to have the final season of the Bad Batch, I think,
Yeah.
and there might be one
Tales.
more.
I think
Tales
there's
of the
gonna be
Jedi
another
or something
young
like that.
Jedi
No,
one. I don't know if it'll be Ahsoka and Dooku again, but I think maybe they'll pick two new people. I don't know.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Um, yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, if you have those series coming out, so you have Acolyte, which is kind of its own thing. It's set like 100 years before Phantom Menace, and then you have Skeleton Crew, which is connected to this like the same timeline of stories and events. So like the Filoni verse, if you want to call it that.
Okay. They
And
scrapped
then
Rangers of the New Republic, didn't they?
yeah, they
Okay.
scrapped it. And then I don't know like if we're gonna get the Mandalorian and Grogu, and then that's supposed to be what was supposed to be like season 4, and then you get Ahsoka season 2, and then you get Dave Filoni's movie maybe.
Yeah.
So you get a
No
movie,
more.
TV show, movie. That would be kind of cool.
No more
Maybe if
Book of
they do
Boba
it that
Fett.
way. If I had to guess, he will probably play a part in the Mandalorian and Grogu. Him
Yeah.
and maybe Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm a sucker
cool.
for Cobb Vanth. I like Timothy Oliphant a lot. So
It's so funny, those two episodes. I mean, I was a pretty big Book of Boba Fett hater.
you don't say.
Well, now there was cool stuff in it. There was cool stuff in it. I honestly, the stuff like I'm just a child. I mean, I'll get sucked out of stuff pretty quick. Like I hate the '50s thing. Hated it.
You mean like
Hate
the
the bikers.
Vespas?
Yeah, I did not like that at all.
Los Espa
Um,
Vespa? Yeah.
but loved Black Chrysanthemum. I mean, I'm not necessarily. I mean, I love the design of him. I thought he was a cool character. I love the huts on the thing. That was fun. I like Boba Fett, and I like the explanation on him surviving. But I mean, though it was. I mean, I know I'm not. This is nothing new here. I don't need to talk about this, but it's mind blowing how good those two episodes squeezed in the middle are of just Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah, they're great.
Uh,
I will say like I don't hate Book of Boba Fett. Actually, I enjoy it, but I do
mhm.
understand the criticisms of it. Um, but
Yeah.
the Cobb Vanth episode when he pops up and that's pretty cool. And where they leave him at the end of that, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. Maybe he's going to be the fastest straw in the West kind of guy now because he's in that tank.
What I was gonna say though, the Cad Bane loved. I love Cad Bane anyway. I think he's a great character from the
Great
animes.
character.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
awesome, and his design was awesome. I thought in this, and I hate how that ended, but I don't know.
Hey,
Maybe
the
it's
thing is still blinking. The thing on his chest is still blinking.
yeah. We'll see. I
So
need
we'll
some
see
Star
what
Wars. It's
happens.
funny. Ahsoka just ended like 3 months ago or something. It feels like it's been 3 years since we had any Star Wars.
Yeah, I feel like Titanic. It's been 84 years. Yeah. But guys, let us know in the comment section down below. Are you excited for The Mandalorian and Grogu, or are you not? What do you think Lucasfilm is planning here? I don't really know. So let us know, guys. Um, Walker, let's move on to what are we watching?
A lot.
Yeah, we both are watching an awful lot. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
You go first. You got a good bit more, I think, than I do by
Yeah,
myself. So
I have quite a bit. Let's see. I will start off. I'm gonna go with Rebel Moon first because that was
okay.
one of my most anticipated movies of the year last year. A
Very
huge Zack
interested in
Snyder
your
fan.
review.
Uh, have we talked about it at all or not
Not at
really?
all. Not at
Okay.
all.
So as you people who listen to this podcast should know, I am a huge Zack Snyder fan. I love his work. There's only been one movie of his that I have not enjoyed, and that was Sucker Punch. It's still a gorgeous looking movie. There's say what you want about Zack Snyder, man does not make bad looking movies. All his movies look great. Just didn't love Sucker Punch. Rebel Moon, I was real pumped about it. Been really hyped about it, because it's Zack Snyder doing his pitch on like Star Wars for his own original idea, right? And I was pumped about it. And the trailers look great. I was really excited to see what he could do with like what you would call like an adult Star Wars, right? But
Mhm.
I was really let down by it. I
Mhm.
was really, really let down by it. Once again, it is beautifully shot. I love the slow mo. I thought all of that was great. I thought the world building was interesting, and there was a lot of creative aspects when it came to that. But aside from that, the characters are paper thin. And the movie is incredibly repetitive. It is very much, Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven kind of thing, where we got to get the band together to take on, you know, this
Yeah.
this you know
Threat.
imperialistic army, this threat, right? And it it starts out pretty interesting, but then all of a sudden it's like repeating itself. It's let's find somebody. Will you join our team? No. Action scene happens. Will you join our team? Yes. And it repeats that until you get to the end. And there's no character work. It's I felt hollow watching it. It just felt like empty noise. And I say that as someone who I love Zack Snyder. I'm a huge fan of his work, as I've said many times already. It felt hollow. It felt hollow, man. And I was real disappointed by it. Yeah, I was really disappointed by it. And the way the movie ends too, it's like I guess we're gonna have to watch the second one now. I'm already committed. And then they also did this stupid thing where they're doing a director's cut of Rebel Moon that's supposed to be what Zack Snyder has said a completely different movie, which is like, why do that? Why do that? It
Again.
it it
I'm just kidding.
feels
I'm just
like
kidding. I know it's a different
well,
story from the first time.
it's a completely different story because the first
I
time it
know.
was
I
not
know.
his fault. This
I know.
time it just feels like Netflix is trying to manufacture a Snyder cut movement and it completely backfired. You should have just released his version of the movie, the director's cut of the movie first, instead of doing this edited down PG-13 version that still isn't very family friendly. Like I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. And I was really disappointed by it, man. I really, really was. This is unfortunately a skip it for me.
Huh. Well, that's a shame. The cast is great too.
The cast is great. Yeah.
So I'm not a huge Snyder fan. I don't want to call myself anti-Snyder. He's just not my style. You know, I'm not a 300 guy. I'm not a Justice League guy. I'm not a any of the trilogy of, you know, the DCU trilogy. Um, I was looking forward to this though. I love the cast. I love like the inspiration. Obviously, I thought it'd be fun. So I assume you think I'll hate it.
Oh yeah, you will not like it. You will actively you will be like hate messaging me while you're watching it, kind of thing.
um,
Yeah, I
okay.
think you should skip it. As
Do you
should
think
the
a
audience.
casual fan, like someone who's not like typically like has a critical eye of movies, do you think just a casual, hey, oh, have you even heard of this Rebel Moon movie? It looks kind of fun. Like someone who's got like clue, like not clue, but you know what I mean. Just
I don't know.
just a fan to watch a movie
I
on
don't
a
want to
Friday night.
speak I don't want to speak for people, but I don't know anyone that I would recommend this movie to.
Okay.
I really don't. I think if you're a Zack Snyder fan, you got to watch it. But because I've heard there
And
are quite a few people who really do enjoy it, but I did not.
they are releasing a director's cut.
Yes, they are at some point. I don't know when.
I mean, why not just do it? That's so dumb. Like, especially this guy who just did it, and
Just
his
went through
director's
this.
cut is better.
Yeah.
Is at least 2 times better than the regular cut. Some people would argue 5 times better than the regular cut.
Oh, it's infinitely better. They're not the same movie. Yeah,
So I mean, this is the guy. I mean, unless they intentionally did it this way
that's what I
because this
think.
is the guy.
Yeah, that's unfortunately like what I think happened here,
But it
and
kind of feels like. I mean, I don't know. It kind of feels like you should read the room. Like when I read the first tweet or whatever that said like Snyder says he's got his own. There's another side. It's like I mean, my eyes got sore from rolling them too hard. Like how I mean, and not because I understand Justice League, I get it, but like don't do it again. Like
yeah,
it either looks like a money hungry just lame
it's
move from Netflix, or it
yeah,
looks like dude. Every time this movie, if the movie was good, would you have said that? I don't, you know, like I understand it's just the optics. I understand Justice League was a different scenario. It was far more tragic. It wasn't his fault. It was out of his hands. It was a different movie. I understand all of that, but it just the optics of it, like again, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's and it this one feels more intentional and purposeful, less. It doesn't feel organic,
Yeah.
if
It
you
doesn't
will.
help too that like everyone's trying to hop on that train. David
Listen,
Ayers and like
it
we're just like
it
it's like
doesn't help
guys.
that. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like it doesn't help that other people are playing this game too, like David Ayers, and it's like you know like
Well, he
mine's
stopped his
better.
already. Yeah, like he said he's letting it go. He doesn't want to mess with he doesn't want to divide the audience. He wants DC to get their fresh new sea legs, if you will. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about something involving some sea legs later with DC. But
Yeah, well,
moving
it's a
on
shame.
to something slightly better, Candy Cane Lane. I thought this was cute, man. Carly and I watched this as we were putting up Christmas decorations. I had a good time with it. It was cute. It was cute. I don't know what else to say other than it was cute. It was funny. It's a good Christmas movie. I'd give it like a solid go see it. Like a it's solid. It's cute. It's fun. I might revisit it. I love Eddie Murphy. Thought it
Maybe
was
I'll
pretty
add it to
funny.
the list, add it to the rotation next year. I'm trying to
Yeah.
really perfect my rotation. I know that sounds so lame, but I'm trying to my Chris.
When you
I've
say
got
perfect your rotation, do you mean like you have to watch these movies in a certain order?
no. I just mean I want. I'm trying to like create my like A list of the movies I never want to like miss. Like every year I want to watch these movies, you know what I mean? And right now it's
That's
about
fair.
10. It's pretty high. I mean, but I'm a
That
movie
that
guy,
is
but it's I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's to be fair, me and my wife. So my wife has some that she wants on the A list that I don't necessarily want on my list, but and there's some that I want on mine that she doesn't want on hers, which you know compromises it.
yeah.
I mean, and then kind of I have a list of like I've never seen it, but it's fun. It's a fun experiment to do. It just makes you watch more Christmas movies, and I'm a sucker for Christmas lately. I'm just not lately, my whole life, but I want to really get in the spirit and like watch Christmas movies all the time, and
Got you, Mr. Griswold. Yep.
yeah. So I should add this to the try it out next year.
I think so. I think
Should I
so.
just watch it in May?
Don't do that. You could watch it. You could watch it in June. June 25th,
Yeah.
halfway Christmas. Next movie I watched, I think we talked a little bit about this. Family Plan. It's the Mark Wahlberg movie,
Yeah.
iTunes movie. This movie is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
It is exactly what you think it is. You can predict this movie like plot point by plot point, line by line. It is every family action comedy you have ever seen just put together in one movie. It's very forgettable. I didn't like hate it, but it's forgettable. So it's like a skip it for me.
Yeah, I that one. Whenever we talked about the trailer, that one, that one felt like six movies I'd seen before.
Yeah, it's exactly those six movies.
Yeah,
This one was one that I was really intrigued by because I saw the trailer and I was like, "Oh my god, this speaks to like this inner childhood fear that I had." Night Swim.
right. Is that A24 or is that Blumhouse? What is
It's
that?
Blumhouse. It's
Okay.
mildly successful, I would say, in its attempt. I know it didn't get great critical reviews. In fact, I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is sitting at for it, but
I don't
I
know.
thought it
I can look it
was
up.
I thought it was mildly successful and entertaining. It's a dumb movie. Like, don't get me wrong. It is a dumb movie. There's nothing really scary about it. There is some real funny lines in it that I think are not intentional. And then there's some real funny lines in it that I think are intentional. It's very much the same vein as something like Amityville Horror, where like something's wrong with the house. In this case, it's something's wrong with the pool, and it's a haunted pool. That spoiler alerts for the movie is built on like you know what? I don't want to give it away, but point being is that it is a haunted pool. There's no malevolent force. It's just a haunted pool. So
Yeah,
the
it's
pool is haunted.
the critic score is 24%. Audience is 42.
Makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
sense. This is like the movie that you put on Halloween night where it's like the middle of the night and everyone's feeling like kind of buzzed and
Yeah.
everyone wants like a good laugh. This is the movie that you put on. It's enjoyable. I would give it like a rent it. Like I said,
Mhm.
I don't think it's a good movie. I don't think it's terrible either because I was entertained by it.
Yeah.
I thought the performances in it were pretty good, especially from Wyatt Russell. I liked him a lot, which I like him a lot anyway. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I give it a
It
rent.
seems like I mean, it's built on a fear. I mean, I wasn't I didn't have this fear like you said, but it feels like every other person I've talked to, this is like a common fear, like what you can't see below the pool, the dark part of the pool,
Mm-hmm.
like it that like that just freaks people out. And I've never, I feel like I'm the odd man out that never really experienced that. Maybe I didn't do a lot of night swimming, but I can imagine that being scary, but other people are like, "Oh yeah, dude, that's." I was big on when I when I was young, the dark end of the hallway. Like when I'd look out the bedroom and I could just see down the hallway till it got dark, and I'd have to like jump across to my parents' room. That would freak me out.
Yeah, I had a similar fear.
I thought it was the crocodile from Peter Pan when I was real young. I thought he was down there waiting for me.
The crocodile from Peter Pan was hilarious, man. Kind of
Not
reminds
when
me
I
of
was.
Baloo a little bit.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I da, 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 da. But well, I don't know. I was probably like 3 or 4 though, and at that point, it was kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of plays into that. Like again, I don't think this movie's good. I don't think it's bad. It's like I said, I think it's like the perfect Halloween movie that you put on Halloween night, kind of in the middle of the party when everyone's feeling buzzed and
Yeah.
before you turn on like the big movie, of the night or something like that. Like this is it's solid, it's enjoyable. I'd give it like a solid rent it. But from here on out, we'll enter into some movies that I think are good, but I have some thoughts on especially one of them that I'm very interested to talk about with you. But this is not that movie, Color Purple.
Mhm.
So the original one by Steven Spielberg is a really good movie. I think
I just
Contra-
watched it for the first time last week.
it's controversial to some people, and I understand why. But I enjoyed it. This, however, it was interesting to me that you were going to take such a dark movie in parts and insert music into it. Like, how are you going to make that work? How are you going to make that work? That seems really hard. Like, sure, you have Les Miserables and Sweeney Todd that are dark, but there's just something about it that it's really really dark, and
Mhm.
man, they make it work. I thought this movie was beautiful from beginning to end. I thought this movie was a triumph. I really did. I think this is, score it, must see. The musical numbers are fantastic. They are fantastic. Now, I will say, the subject matter of the film in certain parts is very dark. So some of the music feeling as upbeat in some parts kind of tonally feels a little off. And there's sometimes with certain characters you don't get as much as you would want to when it comes to fleshing out their each individual things that they go through in the film. But those are nitpicks and an overall really good movie. Like this is a really really good movie. I thought the performances were incredible,
Cool. I'm
incredible.
excited to see it. That's my next movie that I want to see in
Yeah,
theaters
you're
right
you're a
now.
song and dance guy too, man. So like you
Yeah,
need to see this.
yeah.
You would love it.
I So I had not seen the original until last week. I watched it, and I liked it. It was good. I will say, similarly though, my biggest issue with it was the inconsistent tone because there's some goofy, almost slapstick stuff that happens in the original as well. In such a
Hmm.
dark movie, they'll change the tone and like Danny Glover's son Harpo will like fall through the roof and like then fall through again, and he's just like kind of, and it's like, and I
Yeah,
imagine the thought process was to lighten the mood in 1985 for an otherwise very like hard to watch type of movie about such a dark topic, and they would throw in these weird, but to me it didn't work that well. I mean, it was a great movie. I don't mean it's not a good movie, but that part of it made me feel I didn't love it. I wish they would kind of commit one way or the other, and probably to the dark way and not the funny way.
yeah,
But but it sounds like this might work a little better in that regard. But I
yeah.
obviously I like the music, and I love the cast.
The cast is great. The movie is feel. filled with great performances, whether it's Taraji P. Henson, Danielle Brooks is awesome in this. She was in Peacemaker. You'll recognize her from Peacemaker. She
Yeah,
is,
she's also in Orange is the New Black and
yeah,
fantastic in that too.
she's wonderful.
She's a good actress.
She's a really good actress. I haven't seen Orange is the New Black, but I remember her being a huge standout in Peacemaker, and she's a big standout here as well. Coleman Domingo, man, he- again, in a supporting actor is a stacked category this year, and he
Really is.
is, oh, man, he is so good. He is so good in this. I haven't seen the other movie that he's getting a lot of praise for. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my watch list. Didn't have time to get to it. But I
Rustin?
Rustin, yes, but I will go see it. But Fantasia Barrino, man, you did you ever watch American Idol back in the day?
No.
Okay, so
But
she
I
won one of like the first couple of seasons, and
mhm.
she was a terrific singer. And in this movie, she soars too because she has to play. There's this the moment at I won't say anything, but the moment at the dinner table, man, when
At the
she
end?
yeah, when she cuts
Yeah, that's my
loose,
favorite part of the movie. Of the first movie.
dude, I got chills. I was like,
I'm multiplying.
yeah, yeah, I was like, so awesome. She was so good. Yeah, I love this movie, man. Like I went to the theater because I'm not a really big musical guy. Like there's some musicals that I really like, but
Mhm.
this musical really worked for me. I really love The Color Purple. Yeah, it's a must see. Walker, you need to go check it out, man. I think you would really dig it.
I bought a ticket to it yesterday. Not, I mean, I have the pass through Regal, but I reserved a seat and paid 50 cents or whatever I have to do, and and then my washer machine broke the
Ah,
day
you're
before
still having trouble
Christmas.
with it.
Well, eagle-eared listeners will be like, "No, Walker, you said your dryer broke, not your washer." No, that was my dryer that broke before Thanksgiving. Now my washer broke before Christmas, and I hate everything. And it's been a nightmare to fix it.
I hate everything.
And I mean, I'm not going to get into how much of a pain it is to work on it and replace it. Um, and I'm trying to buy a new one. And I'm really like doing Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that to try to buy it. And like people, I found a great deal on some new ones, and we reserved a time. And I was like, like I'm available. I can come pick them up now if you're ready. She's like, oh, tomorrow is better. It's like, all right. And then I'll be there at 11. And then 20 minutes later, she was like, these have been sold. Sorry. It's like, oh my god, I hate you. And then, but then last night I got scammed on Facebook Marketplace. Like I'm 100 years old. I got scammed by somebody. I mean, people are probably going to say, "Wow, you're an idiot," but I found this great deal on a washer and dryer. I mean, now it's turned into like I need to buy both just so they like fit together and can stack and stuff. I found this great deal, and I said, like and it said ask about delivery if needed or delivery available. And I was like, like, would you? I was by myself, and I was like, could you deliver it? What would you charge? And they're like, it'd be $30. And I was like, oh well, that's fair. You can, I'll pay you $30 to deliver it to me. And they were from a town north of here, just one or two towns up, maybe like a 30-minute drive. And we agreed on a time. We talked about the place. I mean, we had this long conversation, and then they were like, "If you don't mind, could you pay the delivery fee before I drive? Just because I don't want to like." I didn't pay for the washer and dryer, but I just sent her the $30 before the delivery. Yeah, my wife's like, "God, Walker, what are you doing?" But I was like, it's just it made sense. I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't want her to risk like going to someone she doesn't know's house and me not be there. I guess that in hindsight that doesn't make sense. Like, what would I be? Where would I be? I mean, what benefit would that give me?
Right.
So I sent her $30, and then she just never showed up. Deleted her Facebook, and I was like, God, you went did a lot there for that 30.
You
Hopefully it
earned that
serves
30
her
bucks,
better than
man.
me.
Uh,
Anyway, I canceled my movie. I was going to see Color Purple, and I was like, oh no, I finally found a washing machine. I'll wait here,
what's
and
funny,
she's going to meet her.
you mentioned canceling a movie. I had to do that exact same thing this week. Weather in the Midwest has been absolutely crazy. Right now, it is fuck you cold. Like it is so freaking cold out here. It was
What's
a
the temperature? What was it
negative,
last night? Ugh,
like -10,
dude,
and then right now
what's
it's
that
like
feel like?
the day. Honestly, like until the wind hits you, it's not as horrible, but when that wind hits you, it feels like it's -35 and then it takes your breath away. It's awful. And then letting the dogs out too, it's rough. But the roads were pretty bad, and with the wind blowing as bad as it was, I had 2 tickets. I was gonna do a double feature. I was gonna go see Mean Girls and then The Beekeeper, and now I'm gonna probably go see them, like, tomorrow night and then Tuesday night, so
Huh.
respectively. So similar thing, but instead of going to see those 2 movies, you know what movies I did check out, Walker?
What's up?
I checked out Past Lives, which, by the way, if you want to check it out on my Vudu, you can. You have my info
Oh,
on
cool,
that.
cool, 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 cool. I was
I think
wondering where that was.
you have about 24 more hours to watch it. But I
Wait.
checked it out. This is one that has been really hyped up, really since I think like summer. People have been talking about it as like being this great movie, this great romantic movie. And I didn't really know much about it. I didn't watch a trailer for it. I kind of knew the basic plot of the story, which is a childhood like lovebirds or soulmates, whatever you want to call it, meet again when they're older and have their own separate lives. And it's kind of like this, you know, what would have happened, what's going to happen now that they're meeting older and they're these soulmates. Are they going to get together or are they not? Is Nora going to throw away her marriage? And it kind of is that, and that's what I thought it was going to be, but it's not. It's something much more. It's a beautiful movie. It is a beautiful movie in the sense that it takes the premise of something like that and it twists it. All the people involved, there's no bad guy, there's no person that you're rooting against. You are just watching these 2 people go from being, these preteens and then becoming adults, talking a little bit, but then pursuing their careers, or one person deciding to pursue their career, and then you meet back up with them again, and there's this like kind of will they won't they with their relationship, but really it's following these people and telling you a story that it's like what if, it's playing this kind of like what if
Mhm.
with romances. What if you didn't move away from Korea? What if you stayed here? What if I would have moved here? What if when we were younger we didn't break apart? There's this tension between them, between Haesung and Nora. And it also creates this tension with Nora's husband, Arthur, who you could like the movie could do the lazy route and make him this despicable, husband, but that's not what they do. They make him kind of like a really good guy. And I love how the movie plays out. And it got me thinking, after the movie, it's like, do you ever sit there and think about, what led to the events of you meeting your significant other? And like, what if you did something slightly different? Would that mess with meeting who you're supposed to be or who you're supposed to end up with? And it's like I think about that and it like makes my heart drop because it's like, oh my God, what if I did something different and I didn't meet the love of my life? Like it makes my heart drop a little bit. I thought it was beautiful. I just finished watching it today. The performances were wonderful. I loved the score. Loved the score. Based off the premise of it, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this. This is going to be terrible. It's going to be like this guy, being like wrecking up a marriage or something like that. And that's actually not what it is. It is much better, much more thoughtful, and much more sincere than that. I really really dug this movie quite a bit.
Good. That got me hype. I'm excited. I want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm explaining that correctly. I haven't really gathered my thoughts on it a lot because I just did watch it, but I thought it was quite good. This is a must see.
Is that getting a lot of buzz? Is that planned to get nominated?
I don't know if it's planned to get nominated. It's getting some buzz. It's getting some
I'm
buzz.
looking at Variety's predictions. It's in the top 10.
Yeah, it's
So
getting some
it's
buzz. I can see it getting nominated and stuff. Tonally, if I could compare it to anything, it reminds me a little bit of Belfast.
love Belfast.
I did too. I love Belfast quite a lot. This kind of reminds me tonally. They're completely different in terms of
Sure.
subjects, but tonally and the score too, like it's very atmospheric and it's a very melancholic movie.
Cool. I need to check it out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie. Finally, Walker, I watched Saltburn.
No. Very interested.
So you still
Um,
this is like your favorite movie of the year still?
yeah, but I mean, I hope I was clear when I don't think most people are going to feel that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually couldn't think of anyone in my life that I would recommend the movie to.
You
I mean,
should
obviously,
really
you.
you should watch this with Spencer. I feel like Spencer would really love it and I think that he would have a great time. And yeah, I think you should really watch it with Spencer. I think this would be one of his favorite movies ever made.
You think?
Absolutely not.
Uh,
He would hate it.
uh,
He would
yeah,
hate it. Look, what the fuck is this movie? Like
it's
seriously.
yeah.
I
I mean, I feel like I was just captivated by Barry Keoghan's performance. I loved Rosamund Pike in it
who
the
doesn't
whole
love
time.
who does not love a good gray fucking,
Yeah, sure. It's
or drinking up some
milky
some
bathwater.
milky bath milky bath water. Yeah, yeah. His water batter, if you will.
Oh, so what'd you think of it?
Look, dude, I this is one of those movies where like how I feel about it is very much it reminded me of how I felt about Midsommar. Like I can appreciate the technical aspects of this movie. I think Emerald Fennell does an incredible job directing this movie. I think the performances are fantastic. Barry Keoghan is for real. He's
Yep.
awesome. He is such a good actor. He's so talented. I still don't know if I buy in completely on the hype of his counterpart in the movie. What's his name?
Jacob Elordi.
Jacob Elordi. I don't know if I buy into the hype of Jacob Elordi or not yet. I thought he was fine in this. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
I haven't
just on
seen
Jacob
it.
Elordi, I think I mean, he's good. Have you seen Euphoria?
No, because I feel like I
He's
know exactly what that kind of show is, and I'm just like, I'm
yeah,
good.
pretty much is.
Yeah.
He's good in it though, and he's good in this. And like the issue with this one is he's opposite Barry Keoghan and he's opposite Rosamund Pike, and he just
Rosamund
gets.
Pike brings it too. She's really
I
good.
really, I really liked her performance in it a lot. I mean, but he's just, I mean, and honestly, I forget his name. The guy from Gran Turismo and C, he's got a like a tough name. but all of them really show up to work, and he Archie Madekwe,
Yeah.
but he's just bound to get kind of swallowed in that. You know what I mean? In that pool of people. I
Jake
haven't seen
Hogan in
Priscilla
this
yet
movie has
either.
definitely wanted to do that. Now,
I was
look, I think, if the movie's goal was to make you go, what the hell? It very successful. Very successful. I just like at the end of the day, when I watch this movie, it reminds me so much of the talented Mr. Ripley, but like a version that is desperately trying to do something different and for shock value's sake. And there's a weird turn in the what's Barry Keoghan's character's name in the movie?
Oliver.
Oliver. Yeah, when Oliver like the scene where he becomes a vampire, right?
Sure.
Right. Like the scene where, he says, not by the way, if you haven't watched the movie, I don't want to spoil what that scene is for you, but he doesn't actually literally turn into the vampire. That's just something that he says in the movie. Up until that point, he's a little like devious and you can tell he's up to no good, but all of a sudden there is this big switch in his character from that scene on. And it felt like it happened really abruptly and really quickly. There was no building toward that. And then after the fact, it was just a series of like, how can we make this movie and the audience as uncomfortable as possible? And it didn't
Yeah.
feel earned to me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel earned to me. Now, that's not to say that I don't see merit in this movie, that I think it's bad. I don't think this is a bad movie. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. The naked dance at the end also just felt like, why?
I agree with that. I think that felt why. I agree with that. I think that was countless add on. I mean, especially the fact that he's naked. I mean, that felt more like it didn't bother me,
No, it didn't bother me either, but
but in terms of like it didn't like I don't know if it knocked points off for me, but it I liked the celebration aspect of it. I think that played. I love the little like jester toys in the box, the little thing.
mhm.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I mean, I was captivated by the performances, the direction,
Mhm.
the cinematography, and
Yeah, it's
how it
gorgeous
was how it was
cinematography.
shot. I thought it was beautiful and cool. I also love just like I don't know. I love the rich type of like what I thought was like poor man walking into a rich
But he's
world and like
yeah,
right,
never
but
mind.
what I thought was a poor man walking to a rich world and like fish out of water kind of feeling, and how like grand and verbose this place was. I love that. I loved. I mean, I really liked the performances, and throughout the whole thing, I'm just kind of. It feels like it's through the first act. It just feels kind of like it's trying to be like a lot of movies, just a pretty predictable type of situation. And then in the second act, it gets weird, and and I start to not like it a little bit. Now I'm still like drawn to the performance, and I'm drawn, but I'm just like, what's happened? Like I imagine they'll explain this to me, you know what I mean? But I the character change is what happens, and vampire. Also, the scene where he's talking to Rosamund Pike before dinner, like out in like the yard, and he says like how beautiful she is and stuff like that. Like that, all of a sudden his confidence is growing, and I'm just not sure like
It happened real
what's
quick.
yeah, and I'm not sure what's happening. And I'm like, is he changing? Is he like getting comfortable in this house? Is this house changing him? And I didn't like it because I didn't understand it, And then we got further and further along, and then I start to realize things, and then I start to realize more and more unfolds, and it explains it for me, and I start to, for me it landed, and I just really really liked it, and like maybe he was just, I mean, because his not that his character wasn't changing, his performance was taking a break, or he was like breaking character kind of in terms of Oliver's character, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because he was, psychosexually attracted, and the shock value stuff, yes, it is shock value stuff, but honestly, it didn't affect me the way it's affecting so many people now. If their goal was to be talked about in a polarizing way online, it's blown up, and I love that. I love the fact that like I can watch. We've been sharing some videos back and forth that like someone's like, "Have you seen Saltburn yet?" It's like, "Oh, it's terrible." And it's like, "Oh, I heard it was like the best movie ever." Like it's so like
Well,
it's
it's
very
funny. It's
divisive.
like the grave scene when he like sticks his dick in the dirt. Like I was just like my only thought was like, dude, you're gonna get an infection. Like,
I think it was
stop.
improv.
That's the thing is he said it was improv, and like I just
I think
imagine
it.
like. Did no one just stop him? Just go like, hey, dude, and then Emerald Fennell's like, nah, keep the camera rolling.
I just, I mean, the shock value stuff. To me, watching it was gross, and it was wild and shocking, but it also, I don't even know how to say it really. It felt raw to me. It felt like
It was raw,
so
man.
so deeply like so for this guy who's clearly like has this like fantastical sexual psychotic, like, I mean, maybe attraction towards like this guy or whatever. I mean, it just felt like so deep down, like they just dialed into this guy. I don't know. It's hard to explain how I felt watching it, but it just made me feel a lot of stuff, and I was pretty surprised, and I was also lost, but never so lost. I was lost enough that I kind of stopped liking it. Like I was bummed that like, oh, this character's like not really fleshing out the way I want him to flesh out. And then the as it unfolded, it explained it for me personally. Does that make sense? And it
Yeah,
like and it made
it all
it.
makes sense how you feel about it. I just like
And I just had so much fun with it. I understand. Yeah, I mean, I have such a hard time recommending it to people, and like my mother in law's in town, and she's like, what? So what have you seen lately that you like? What's like your favorite movie of the year? I'm like, what, Lori, I can't do that one. I can't tell you that one. Like I can't do it.
listen,
I can't recommend that movie to you.
listen. Here's the thing. My only regret watching this movie because like I don't regret watching the movie. I thought it was fine. I thought the direction was great. I thought the performances are great. I just thought the material didn't land fully for me. My only regret watching this movie is that I did not watch it with Carly because I would give anything to watch this movie with her, to hear her commentary. It would be marvelous. It would be
Do you think
spectacular.
she would hate it?
Oh, yes, yes,
Just wouldn't even watch it. Just
yeah,
wouldn't. She
yeah,
would
yeah,
refuse
yeah.
to watch it.
It's definitely not a Carly movie, but one that I regretted deeply not watching it with her because it just would have been hilarious to hear her thoughts and commentary on it, which is always fun because I always love getting her thoughts and commentary on the stuff.
I'm
But
definitely glad it's
my
getting to like a
score,
splash online, and like people are
it's
talking at
it's a
least.
big like it's a big online movie. For me, I think my score is like a rent it because like it's not again, like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's the kind of movie that you want to watch with people just to kind of see their reaction. Unless, of course,
Yeah,
it's your mother-in-law.
sure.
But that is all the things that I've seen that you haven't seen besides Saltburn. I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way before we talk about stuff that we both seen. But before we get to that, Walker, stuff you've seen.
Yeah, it's not much. I finished The Crown, which we had talked about the first half of the season, which focuses on Princess Diana, which I thought was excellent. Second half of the season has been released, and the series has now concluded. It's over now. Very good. Obviously, since then we've learned that Elizabeth Debicki has won. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a limited or anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no. She won it for Best Actress or
I'm
Best
not.
Supporting Actress.
I'm not sure because I don't keep up with the TV stuff as much.
Yeah, I think she won it for Best Supporting Actress for playing Princess Diana. She did great. The show ended. It was pleasurable. It's a tough show to recommend as well. Absolutely, it's if you have any eye for a quality production. Supporting role, she won supporting role of TV actress
Nice.
Golden Globe. If you have any like eye for like production value or quality, you know programming. It's excellent. I mean, the set design, the costume design, the makeup department. The I'm a sucker for casting that looks like the people. I know you. The cool thing to say is like, oh, that doesn't matter. It's about the perform. It's fun when they look just like the people,
It
and
matters.
when they're giving
Yeah, it
good
matters a little bit.
performances. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sacrifice it for a good performance. I don't want to hire someone who's not up to the job because they
Yeah.
look like him more than someone who is up to the job. But they just nail both every time. And the set design, the costume design, makeup, the casting, the performances, all excellent. They take a pretty boring topic and make it pretty entertaining. I said this before. I mean, the show. I know a lot of people I could recommend it to that I think would think it was boring.
Yeah.
But I think I end up a lot of moms like it. My stepmom likes it. My mother-in-law likes it, and kind of get carried away in conversation with them. So it'll be a lot of fun. So if you're into it, check it out. Won't disappoint. I also watched What If. Uh, it might disappoint. Uh,
Is it
I
better than season one? Oh, okay. Disappointed.
may, maybe I guess it was such a damn chore to get through. It took me. I mean, it's not very long. I mean, it took me 3 weeks to watch it. I could not. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying. I mean, the animation style is somewhat good. The concept is there. I can't emphasize how little interest I had in it every time I turned it on. Like how little. Also, now not only that, they made a couple of the episodes aren't even in English. They really started diving into like
You're not a subtitles guy?
I am, but not watching What If. I don't
Uh,
want to watch an episode of What If like that's diving into. I mean, I understand, I appreciate the diversity and like the culture inclusion and everything like that, but like I'm barely, I don't even want to. I'm looking at my phone more than I'm looking at the TV on this show. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. I'm trying to get through it. It's just I'm just
I
trying to
was like
watch it
that
so
with
I can.
season one, man. I watched all of it. I watched all of season one, but it was tough. Now there were a couple episodes I really did like. I liked the Hank Pym episode, the Doctor Strange episode. I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was kind of a all over the place. And then this season, I don't.
There's
I
some
haven't even
decent.
gotten to it yet. And then Echo is still something that I'm slogging through.
Yeah,
So
I've watched 3 episodes of Echo, and it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. I think I've heard some people hate it. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I was kind of out on it in the first 20 seconds when they were speaking sign language, and the guy was like, he was speaking sign language like he was learning it or whatever, and then knew all these words, and then was like, wait, what's the word for man? And it was like, man's what tripped you up? You're having a full conversation. You're like, the man loved his peaches, and then it was like, wait, what's the word for man? It's like, come on. How about peaches? Don't say man is the word you couldn't think of. But what if? I mean, I'm like a completionist and obsessive about seeing it all and all of the MCU stuff. I couldn't care less if I wasn't like that, though. I not interested at all in it. couple inches apart. A lot of Agent Peggy Carter. I've had enough of her. I'm good. We don't
A
need
lot
any
of
more Peggy
people,
Carter.
a lot of people love Agent Carter, Captain Carter.
Sure.
But I like the character a lot. But it seems like that's what the What If show is. It's Captain Carter.
Yeah. But well, that's it for anything I've seen on my own. So I know we've got several things here that we've both seen that we can get
Yes.
into. Some good old fashioned Ben and Walker reviews.
And
You know,
it should be stated that anything we talk about here, I think, should be spoilers. Anything that you and I
yeah, I
have
think
both
once we've
seen,
both
yeah,
seen it, I mean, when I think a lot of times we like to say some stuff that one of us has seen just to give our thoughts on it, and we don't want to spoil it for the other person or the audience. But once we've both seen it, I think it becomes kind of our review for the episode. But we'll state it and we'll warn you anytime it's coming.
yeah.
But you want to get started with Leave the World Behind?
Let's do it.
I mean, so this kind of was the Bird Box of the season, wasn't it?
Kind of,
Or is that
yeah.
what it's called? Bird Box?
Bird Box,
What was
yeah,
it called?
yeah,
I mean, it just kind of like it felt like everyone was talking about this for a little while. Like, it just kind
yeah.
of popped
It
off on
felt,
Netflix for a weekend.
and then it kind of just it went away. Kind of like my thoughts on it. I saw it and then it kind of just went away. This movie to me is very much like if someone put in like a couple of conspiracy theories into Chat GPT and were like, hey, create a story around this. And then they filmed it. That's what this movie was. Like
Hmm.
I did not find this movie to be even remotely interesting. I found it to be just frustrating and a series of ideas that aren't properly fleshed out. It's like if
So,
someone has an idea and goes, "Ooh, this is a deep thing to explore." And I'm like, "Okay, but you got to explore it." But they present so many things and they don't really flesh it out. It's a mess of a movie.
yeah, I mean, so I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I thought that there was a lot of tension with it that was built and a lot of suspension. I love the cast. I like the performances. I love the set design. I love the confusion that was happening and not sure what was going on. But I will say, I mean, I wrote in my review, it left me a little unsatisfied, and I'm not necessarily talking about the ending,
No, no.
which some people may feel unsatisfied from the ending, but I don't think that was the point of the movie. I don't think the point was to clear that up for you. But I mean, the deer thing. I mean, there's a lot going on that I'm not 100% sure what it was
Screaming at the
going.
deer, "Leave, leave." So stupid.
But I did like the concept, and I liked the unfolding, and I think I would have liked it more if it felt like there was definitely going to be another one or something to explain some more of it.
I don't. Please no. Don't make me sit through another one.
But I did have a good time with it. Sounds like I liked it a lot more than you
What
did.
grade would you give it? Would you give it like a must see, go see it, rent a
No, I'd
skip
give
it?
it a go see it. If I range it out of 100, I about a 78 out of 100.
I would give it like a 45, 40.
Oh wow, it's big. We're big. We're way out. We're way different.
Yeah, this is a skip it for me.
Maybe I'll watch it again at some point and see it. I love Marsala Ali, and I thought he was.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great in everything. I thought he was really good. I thought the performances were good, but
Yeah, he's just unsatisfied by the story.
by everything, yeah. Aside of the performances, yeah.
Yeah. You saw Maestro?
I did. Just watched it.
Mhm.
I watched it in pieces because I've had a busy couple weeks, so it was
Yeah.
hard for me to sit down and watch it in one go. What I will say is that I think Bradley Cooper is one of the most talented people in Hollywood. It is unfair. It is not fair. It should be illegal for someone to be as talented of an actor and as talented as a filmmaker as he is. He is I think he's one of those actors that we just take for granted how good they are. and he is incredible in this. I think the performance that he gives in this is fantastic, especially during the scene where he's conducting.
Hmm.
It is amazing. I got chills watching it. It was fantastic. There are some shots in here that he does as a filmmaker that are breathtaking. The one shot of him running from in the beginning where he's running from his room to like the stage and the camera pans and it goes across and it goes right down to right center stage. Fantastic. I love that. I loved it. I will say this though. I do like this movie. I don't love it. And I think the reason I don't love it is because it jumps around so much timeline wise. I don't feel that I got to know the characters that much and what made them tick outside of his relationship with his wife
Hmm.
and the complexities that went into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think that that's my biggest drawback is I didn't really feel like I got enough on that side and enough on the emotional aspect of the story and until the end where Felicia is diagnosed with cancer, and of course that's a soft spot for me. How they captured that is very authentic and really got me, I will say. But up until that point, it just felt like the movie was jumping around a lot. I will say Carrie Mulligan does a wonderful job, as she does in pretty much everything she's in. I thought she should have won the
Saltburn.
Oscar for Promising Young Woman, but what?
Saltburn.
Yeah, she's good in Saltburn. She's not in it long, but yeah, she's good.
Yeah, no, I like the movie a lot. I I liked it a lot. I agree completely about Bradley Cooper. I think he's one of the most talented actors out there. I also think he's an extremely talented director. I liked I liked the story about this very interesting person and his very interesting life. I thought the use of music was incredible.
Yeah,
I thought
I
how
actually
they used
used
Bernstein's.
Bernstein's music was great.
It was very cool. I mean, even like the West Side Story. I mean, it was
Mhm.
very, very cool how they like inserted in there. I thought costume and makeup was awesome. I thought I thought performances were great. I thought Bradley Cooper was very good. And I thought Carey Mulligan was fantastic. I and then so behind the camera, I thought Bradley Cooper exactly what you just said. That scene, the overhead scene. I thought he did some really interesting and cool stuff.
Mhm.
And then like there's like a dance number in the beginning, and it feels kind of like it's kind of telling a part of a story, and it felt like this really cool way that he was gonna introduce. And then after that, that kind of style stops to me, and it feels inconsistent on how he wanted to tell the story. So it was like, and when it stopped, I thought the direction was fantastic for the rest of the movie as
Yeah.
well. It just was different. Like it was like it's like, all right, we're going to direct this kind of movie this way, and it's going to be unique and
Started
interesting
out
and
big
different
and
from the start of the
bombastic, and then
movie.
it got smaller and more intimate. As the
Yeah,
story
yeah.
gets smaller and more intimate because it
Yeah,
becomes
maybe
essentially
that's a little over my head, and it was better. It just to me, it felt maybe it's more nuanced and than I am understanding, but watching it, it felt like we're gonna tell this story this way in this interesting, cool, fun, big way, and then it was like that's kind of taking a while or getting expensive or something. Let's go. I don't know. Like it almost felt like that watching it, and so it felt inconsistent for me. That being said, I still have it as a must see. Probably a low end must see. I would 83 out of 100 for a score, but
I'd give it a go see it, a high go see it,
yeah.
almost pushing on the must see. I wish that, and again, it's playing on things really close to home for me, but once you got to that part of the story, I was hooked. But the rest of the story, it didn't engage me as much emotionally for whatever reason. But I can still appreciate everything that Bradley Cooper's doing behind the camera. It's just, it is so crazy to me that he is. Maybe I'm crazy here. I think he could be an even better director than he is an actor. I think
He's
he's
very talented.
I think he's an incredible actor. It's just it's
I think
crazy,
he get
man.
his due one day.
He absolutely will, and he should. I think he's phenomenal. I'm sure he will be. I think best actor is probably a 3-person race between Cillian Murphy, Paul Giamatti, and him. And I would not be shocked come Oscar Sunday if he brings home that best actor Oscar. I thought he was really good, but even as a director, I think he's phenomenal, man. I'd give it like I said, a high. Go see it.
Yeah, yeah. It was an interesting movie to watch. Smoked a lot of cigarettes.
A lot. A
A lot.
lot.
Yeah. Now that you're saying that the direction, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think about it because it would be weird to film the third act, once she's sick and stuff in like a funky way. But I don't know. It also kind of felt like he kind of became more. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I like the movie. I just had. I mean, these are nitpicks anyway, but
Yeah.
I think he's very talented, and I think he's got some potential to really have a career.
He's got some
Um,
potential.
now, masterpiece. We're gonna move on to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
I want
Tell me
you
your
to go.
thoughts, man.
I
You want me
want
to go
your
first?
thoughts. Yeah, I want your thoughts first.
Well, it's the DCEU's final movie, and it went out with a dud. This movie's trash. I thought it was terrible. I thought the script was bad. I've heard like the saving grace was it looked nice. I didn't even think it looked very good. Maybe I was just getting better and during the movie and not liking it. The only things to me that resembled like a good movie were the was the occasional, and I mean occasional because it wasn't the same charming Momoa's Aquaman the whole movie that I'm used to. I mean, the occasional charm from Patrick Wilson and Momoa that I enjoyed. I didn't like it at all. I mean, I it's so far into skip it category. It's. I mean, I'm gonna give you my score's 36 out of 100.
Okay, so it's not below Freddy versus Jason.
It is not. It's not that low. And it's also not as low as the Maldives movie I watched, but it is lower than Blue Beetle. And I was kind of
That's
talking to you
fair.
earlier. I might need to rewatch Blue Beetle. I don't want to, but when I was ranking my movies for the year, it was like that feels kind of low for that. So maybe I was a little harsh on Blue Beetle, but this movie, fresh out of the theater, I mean, I was so ready for it to be over.
Jesus.
Sorry. Just-
So I had an interesting experience going to see this movie. I went to go see it opening night, and it was about 10 minutes into the movie, and the fire alarm went off, and had to exit the theater. Turned out the theater was okay. It was a false alarm. Everything was fine. But I ended up just going back home. I was like, oh, whatever. I'll come back later. So I went back the next day. Went to go see it. And I gotta be honest with you, man. You're gonna disagree with me hardcore on this, but I had fun with it. Like, to
Hmm.
me, I think, I've been asked, what do you think about this movie, Ben? Like, what would you rank this movie? You being a big DCU fan, and this being the last movie, and how does it compare to the first Aquaman? And I said, look, I love the first Aquaman. I think it is bonkers. I think it is ridiculous, and I ate it up. It is ice cream. It is chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, and it is delicious, and I love it. This is off-brand chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. I think if you love the first Aquaman, love to like the first Aquaman, I think you will find entertainment in this movie. I think it's not as good as that, but I think it's a solid follow up. I think if you don't like the first Aquaman or you dislike it, yeah, you're going to hate this, which is why I think you hate it. I also think, I'm not trying to come up with excuses, but I think people were ready to take out their pitchforks for this movie because it's the
Sure.
end of the DCEU.
I was. I know
And
that.
they,
I'll
and they,
admit that.
and they want to just unload on it, which I think is sometimes a little unfair. I tonally, this movie's about like the first one. It really is. Tonally, it's about the same as the first one. The only difference in tone being that there's the one scene when they go up on the shore after Arthur's dad's house has been burnt down and they're all screaming like no, like that felt tonally real inconsistent and real bad. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good time. Not as complete as the first movie, I don't think, but still like serviceable, still fun. I thought what carries this movie is the chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson. Patrick Wilson's awesome. I don't think he gets enough love. He is so underrated. And him as Orm, because he plays it so straight, is perfect. It's pitch perfect.
I think he was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, he's great. He got freaking jacked, dude. You got
Yeah.
freaking jacked in this movie. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. It's not great. The script is cheesy as mess. Like if
Script was
if
probably my least favorite part about it.
if Aquaman is the Mummy, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the Mummy Returns. Take of that
Oh,
what you
I mean,
will. I enjoyed both those movies. Obviously, the Mummy's better. It's kind of a similar situation. Two similar franchises in the sense that they are swashbuckling adventures. I think if you enjoy the first one, you'll enjoy this one. Yeah, I liked it.
couple positive.
I give it like a solid go see it. Now, the first one to me is a must see, but this is a solid to go see it. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's atrocious. I would put it above Blue Beetle. I would put it above Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Uh, I wouldn't put it above the Flash, but it's solid. It's solid.
Yeah, I mean, couple positives. I mean, I thought the fight choreography was kind of cool.
Yeah, the fight choreography was great. I thought.
Patrick Wilson, I think, was the best part of the movie. I mean, the script, I really, it was hard for me to get. I mean, I just rolled my eyes a lot, and
Yeah,
I mean, Tamora Morrison's anything he said, I wasn't into it. It felt so.
it's very
Gosh,
cheesy.
I just, I mean, and it was so like I don't know, and Black Manta's suit was kind of cool. I'm surprised I like it. I think I could see me just hating it so much, and part of me just thinks it's kind of cool.
Well, Aquaman's a ridiculous character anyway, and like also like the movie. I think I don't know how much money has Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom made now. Let me
I don't
let
know. I'll
me
look it up.
yeah. Well, you look it up, but like what's crazy to me is I think it's made the most out of any DCEU movie that's come out this year. It made
Hmm.
more than The Flash, and it made more than Blue Beetle, and it made more than Shazam. The first one made $1 billion. I think if DC would not have announced that, like back in January of last year, that they are essentially rebooting and these movies are just DOA, this movie would have probably done pretty well, which is still shocking to me, but it just proves I think people like Momoa and they like him as his character. I mean, the first one grossed $1 billion. It's like the
Yeah, worldwide, we're at 373.
373. It
Mm-hmm.
might. I don't know. I don't know if it'll overtake. I don't know if it'll gross 400 million, but which would be more than
Yeah,
Black
I
Adam.
mean, it just seems like it is it's just kind of it's not the headline was it refuses to drown. It's kind of a good headline.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, look, I don't think. I think as an end to the DCEU, it doesn't really work. But I think as a self-contained like Aquaman 1, Aquaman 2, it works as a very solid sequel, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Well, what do we have next on the docket? Ooh, Wonka. Wonka was fun. I thought Wonka was a good time.
Yeah, Wonka was a good time, man. I thought it was charming. I thought it was heartwarming. The emotional stuff with with Wonka and his mom was got me in the feels. Loved that. I love Timothy Chalamet as Willy Wonka. I thought, a lot of people look at that original Willy Wonka and they're like, "There's an edge to Willy," and it's like, not really. Outside of like the the boat sequence, they're crap kids. Like they're mean kids, and he's like purposefully setting these kids up to fail so that the one good-hearted kid will win. He's not murdering these kids. I don't understand where that idea came from. I never got that feeling while watching the original Willy Wonka. And this is, you know, at the end of that movie, the original movie with Gene Wilder, he is this hopeful, filled with like joy Willy Wonka, right? And that's kind of what you get here with this Willy Wonka. He is hopeful, he's happy, charming. I thought the musical numbers worked really well. Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa is top tier. Just so he's not in the movie enough, I don't think. But when he is, man, it is. I was laughing my ass off.
I liked it. I had a good time with it. I like the original Willy Wonka. I rewatched all three, or I rewatched the other two.
I really like the
During the
other
same.
two as well, like the original and the Johnny Depp version.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the original. I don't think it's a lot of people have it as like a perfect movie out there. Some people think it's incredible, but I mean, I've got it high. I mean, I got it at a 90 out of 100. I think it's good. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's an all time movie, and I loved the performance. Is maybe a perfect performance. I mean, it's an all time performance in my mind. And what's so interesting about it is like he's confusing. He just confuses you the whole time. Like you're not sure what's true and what's not and what's real. And then I did a little research on it, and it was saying he like it was Gene Wilder's idea to do the cane part at the beginning where he does the somersault, and
Yeah.
he was like, because from that point on, you'll never know if I'm being serious or not, or telling the truth or not. And I was like, yeah, I mean,
Well, he's
that's great because I
sarcastic the
don't,
entire movie
yeah.
until
And
the
I
end.
love that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's great. I hate the Johnny Depp one. I don't like Johnny Depp one at all. I mean,
To me,
I've
I
got
like
it.
it. I like it because it's very, very accurate to the book.
So I don't, that's what I hear. And that makes it kind of unfair for me to judge because I'm not as, I've never read the book and I'm not familiar with the book, and I don't really get it. I do like Johnny Depp's performance in it. I think he tries to make it its own thing, and he does. He's a weirdo, but I character's weird. But I mean, I don't like it. I have it at a 45. I mean, I think like the Oompa Loompa stuff is hard to watch, and the like it looks like an O Town music video or something. But I had a great time with Wonka, though. I mean, I it's very magical and whimsical. It has like the power to make you feel like a child again. I did like some of the musical numbers. I did not like all of them, but I did like a lot. I did like several of them. Timothy Chalamet's awesome in it. It was feel good. I thought it nodded to the original without like being too overly
Mhm.
like reliant on it, making it its own thing. I mean, the imagination song kind of gives me chills when I hear it. I had a great time with it. It was fun.
Yeah, I did too. I'd give it a must see. Like it's like a 83, 84.
Yeah, I'm at a 78. I'm at a high end go see it. But yeah, I mean definitely a must see for a child. It's always kind of I I think it's
Yeah,
quite good. I really enjoyed it. Anatomy of a Fall. I loved this movie.
I did too, man. This has been. I saw the trailer and I was really hooked by it, and it was one of those movies that it kind of fell through the cracks. I didn't really think much of it. I kept kind of putting it off. Then finally watched it, and the performances in this movie and the courtroom drama aspect of it was so enthralling. Like it drew me in, and the movie's so smart in that you don't really know the truth of what's going on until the kid starts to unravel it. You're kind of seeing it through his eyes, and the kid's performance is just phenomenal. It is so good.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, he needs to. I mean, he needs to explode.
I hope he
He's
does.
great.
Yeah, like he is so good. It's really like it. I love how this movie how it plays in the shades of gray when it comes to marriage and a relationship, and the way that it explores that and what happened throughout their marriage. Why did it start to crumble? What's the insecurity with their marriage, and then you come to find out she's trying to, like, especially in the case, trying to ultimately protect him, really, to not come across as a bad guy or make her child think of him as a bad guy, because he wasn't. He was, you know troubled.
It it I loved it. I thought the performances top to bottom all.
Mm,
I mean, Sandra Huller incredible. I thought she was very very good in it. And then Milo Machado Granner. I don't know how to say his name
yeah,
smoother than that, but he's next level. He's fantastic. I mean, really the entire cast. I mean, there wasn't a performance that I didn't thoroughly enjoy throughout the entire thing. The I think it respects its audience as well as any movie I've ever seen. It's
yep,
smart. It lets you just hang on for the ride and do it. And the courtroom drama stuff, it's so interesting. Maybe it's the foreign aspect of it, and it's a different style of trial than we're necessarily you see a million times. But it was less. I don't want to say dramatic, less like over the top dun dun like kind
yeah,
of trial, and it let the subject matter and the dialogue and the performances create the drama, and it
yeah.
let it like it somehow I couldn't look away from the screen. I was so drawn into it the whole time, and it didn't have to. It's so cool how, like, so many movies, especially American made movies, they go over the top to captivate the audience from the get-go, and like, what tricks can we use to get people's attention? What can we do to hold people on? While this just relied on a great script and great subject matter and great performances, and just the material is what like
It's an
hooked
incredible
me, and
script.
I couldn't look
It
away.
won the Golden Globe.
Yep.
Yeah, it won the gold, which I know no one likes the Golden Globes, but, like, it's an incredible script. The thing is, it's tight. There's no wasted breath or dialogue in it. It like you said, it trusts its audience to be to be able to dissect the material that they're given, and it is riveting.
Also, love the use of language. I thought that was the
Mhm.
coolest, most relevant use. I mean, it's about half French, half English. Maybe not quite half, but it was cool how they like used that in the movie. I just loved it. That just made it feel so authentic and so good. And then you're like you said, you don't know the answer the whole time. I mean, it's. I had a really good time with this, and I really did not know anything going into it. Like you said with Past Lives, I knew it was getting hype. I knew it was well regarded. Was all I had, and just the poster kind of reminded me of Fargo.
A little bit, yeah.
Um, so, yeah, definite must see for me. Definite
Same.
must see.
This is a high must see.
I mean, I'm at a 93 out of 100 right now. I mean, it's on my. I mean, it's we'll see, but very good film. I loved a lot about it, and talking about it right now has kind of got me jazzed up wanting to watch it again.
Yeah, I will never listen to PIMP the same way.
Oh, I know that was such an interesting song to choose too. Because what was funny is like at the beginning, you know how you like start a movie a few minutes too soon, and you're like, all right, I'm not quite. I need a pause. I'm not quite ready. I'm not. You know what I mean? And like you're still like doing a couple things, and you got to rewind some parts, especially when a lot of it's in another language, because you have to pay close attention. And like that song, the beginning, PIM, the steel drum version of PIMP plays on blast, and I kept having to rewind it. And eventually, the house was just like, "Dude, I mean, how many times are you gonna play that song?" Like, I just kept playing it over and over, and I was like, "Little did you know, we're gonna hear it several more times." So I heard it about 1,000 times. I think.
That's
But
awesome.
great film.
Great movie, yeah.
And lastly, I another banger. I think we're gonna have to end it on the Iron Claw.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this.
Man, like we talked about it a little earlier, right? Like this is like one of those movies where it was like one of our most anticipated movies of the year. You and I both grew up being uh, wrestling fans. We were big wrestling fans. So I was pumped for this because I love wrestling, and Zac Efron is one of our favorite actors. You know, he's one of those guys that I'm always championing. Like, just like this guy is so good, and you don't even know it. Like, he is so good. I just wish he had a better agent so he could get better work, better movies to be able to show off his talent. Because I think there is so much untapped ground when it comes to him as an actor. And of course, you have Jeremy Allen White coming in here as well. You have the other actor from oh my god, what was he in? He was in last year's Oscar movie as well. I'm forgetting the name of the movie.
Mm.
The boat movie where people are vomiting for like 20
Oh,
minutes.
Triangle of Sadness.
Thank you. Yeah, Triangle of
Tri-
Sadness.
tri-
He's in that. Yeah,
I love Triangle of Sadness.
that makes one of us.
Sorry.
But no, I I I was really pumped for this movie. I thought the trailers looked phenomenal. Obviously, the physical transformation. Zac Efron's always jacked, but he gets like another level of jack. There are shots in this movie, like the opening shot, where you just see him crawl out of bed and just chest squeezed together, and it's like his veins are popping out. And you're like, dude, are you like dieting for like a bodybuilding show right now? What's going on here? Like you look stage ready. But I was pumped for this movie, and I went to go see it like a couple days after Christmas, and dude, I loved it. I loved it so much. This might be my new favorite movie of the year. I love this movie for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is that it explores the beauty of family and sometimes the ugliness of family as well. And to another degree, it also explores, that brotherhood or siblinghood. I feel like even if you're two sisters, you can relate to this, or your brother and a sister, you can relate to this. That bond that you have with your siblings. You know, I, very fortunate. My brother is like my best friend. I love him to death. I
Mhm.
love my sisters too. I'm very close with them. Think a lot of them. And we grew up really close. And there's always it explores the complexity of siblinghood, and even though their father puts them on the, well, you're my favorite here, you're my favorite now, but that can always change. You never get a sense that they hate each other, right? They love each other and they support each other, but there is that competitiveness between them, and I think all siblings can really relate to that. But even below that, there is an exploration of what it means to be a real man in this movie. Obviously, it discusses, toxic masculinity, all that stuff, right? But it's even a little bit more than that. It what it is to be a man. It's not about how much you can take. It's about how much you can take, but also realizing that and handling it and handling your emotions in a proper way and not letting them kill you, not holding it in. It's not, being a man is not how much you can hold in. It's about dealing with your emotions and 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 handling them in the best way possible for your mental health, and not holding it in and not holding those feelings in, because as a man we're often taught, you know hold your feelings in, be a man, be strong. But strength is not about how much you can take. Real strength is realizing where the problem is and handling it, right? And this movie's really about that. And for that reason alone, this movie, man, it hit me. It hit me so hard. It really, really did. I thought this was a special movie for those things, but even looking past those things, the performances. Zac Efron, it is a crying shame. He's getting no love in the awards season. None.
Oh.
But he should be. He gives the best male performance of the year. He does. I think he easily gives the best male performance of the year this year in terms of best actor. I think he simply gives the best performance. I think he's better than Cillian Murphy. I think he's better than Paul Giamatti. I think he's better than Bradley Cooper. I think he is absolutely flawless in this movie because there's so much complexity in his performance. There's so much that he's having to do in this role. I think the story's beautiful. The use of music is great. That song "Gonna Live That Way Forever," the needle drops is phenomenal. Um, Outside of that, you have Tom Sawyer play, which
Mhm.
that plays it got me pumped up and ready to go. Jeremy Allen White's amazing in this movie too. Thought he was really good. There's so much to this movie. It is a dark movie. It is depressing. Like, it is so sad, but yet there's this a hopefulness to it at the end. It's not so much the family curse as much as it is the generational trauma that the son breaks, right? And it's
Mm.
beautiful in the way that it does it, and how his wife is his strength. Because what if he didn't have her? Like, the movie puts a lot on her. Lily James does a phenomenal job in this too, being that person of strength for Zac Efron. Kevin Von Erich, right? It's Kevin Von Erich. I believe it's
Oh
Kevin.
yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah,
everyone's
that he
given.
plays.
Yeah.
That he plays. It's phenomenal. I could go on and on and on and on about this movie, man. But I was floored by it emotionally, and I absolutely loved it.
I loved it too. I mean, I think you said a lot of it very well. You like you said, we're both wrestling fans growing up. I think you were probably a bigger wrestling fan than I was in terms of this type of wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean, I had a good 4 year period, maybe 2001 to 2005 or something in that range that I liked it a lot. So definitely after this time, way after. And I wasn't even familiar with this family at all. I didn't know them. Were you familiar with the family?
yeah. I got into wrestling when I was young because I loved movies. I heard The Rock was going to be in The Mummy Returns, so I was like, all right, he's a wrestler. Got to get into it. My childhood best friend Andrew Horton got me into it, and I got out of it, and then I got right back into it when probably around 2006, or when I was around 12, and that's when I started to get like really invested in it, and that's when I found out about the Von Erichs and the incredibly unfortunate thing that happened to that family. Things
Yeah. I mean,
plural.
I wasn't overly familiar with the family, but I was moved the whole movie. I mean, the movie's very emotional. It was it's heartbreaking. It's tragic. The whole story, and I mean, and they. I hope. I mean, I believe the Von Erichs. I think Kevin is a fan of the movie.
Yeah, he
I
is. He
think he
seems to
thinks
be a big fan.
it's told well. I mean, it seems like it did it justice. Um, did I hear right? Is there another brother that wasn't? They just didn't. They couldn't get into the movie.
Yeah, they there's another brother who I think spiritually they kind of tell the story a little bit, but they don't really. He was the youngest brother. He didn't feel as if he could be able to do, or at least in the documentary that I watched, like it doesn't feel he didn't feel like he could be as good, so he kind of fell into depression, and you know they thought it
Gosh,
was too much.
I mean that's gosh, it is too much. It's already too much. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
mean. I mean, the movie's phenomenal, but that's unbelievable. Yeah, Zac Efron's incredible in it. I love Jeremy Allen White in it. Holt McCallany's good in it too, and I like him not just because his
hmm
name's Holt. He's good in Mindhunter.
he's so good as a dad because he's not. You never get a sense that he dislikes his children at all. He loves his kids, but he's not like abusive physically,
He's
but
complicated.
emotionally, yeah. Like
He's complicated.
what he
He
does.
plays that complex role
hmm
well, and you know, there's so much emotion. Zac Efron does a lot of acting with his eyes, and which is always a top skill, and all of them really. Jeremy Allen White too. Like the whole. I mean, even the parts of the movie of like David skipping over Kevin, and then Carrie skipping over like just like the skipping over Kevin in terms of who's next, who's the next contender. Just the way they handle that's acted so well too. Not even the big thematic tragic scenes that they all show up for on those days too, especially Zac Efron, but the little in between stuff too with the eyes and the I'm hurt, but I've got to I've this is my fan. I'm just so conflicted, and you can like feel it, and I
I'm
think
hurt,
that's
but I'm
really
gonna
well done.
support my brother, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm jealous. I'm hurt. I'm pissed, but I'm gonna you know do what my dad says. I'm gonna support my brother. Whatever. Like at least just so much going on at once, and he somehow like is able to grab all of that.
The the two
Just
scenes that got me the most in the movie is the when Carrie kills himself. He commits suicide, and he had called Kevin, and Kevin's like, "You just stay there, and then I'll be there. We'll do something together." And then he calls his dad, and his dad's like, "Well, he called you. You handle it." And he's like, "Well, just take care of him for me, until I get there." And you could sense the frustration starting to build, and then when he sees what happened after he hears the gunshot, that frustration boils over, and he says, "You said you were going to protect him," and then like he just takes him down and starts like strangling him, and you just sense that frustration. And then he goes, picks up his brother, and carries him down to like the dinner table. And then it transitions into like what could come across as like cheesy, but even talk about it now, it makes
but it
me
was
really
tasteful.
emotional. Where he has both his legs now, and he's jumping up, and he goes to meet his brothers. And dude, I was quietly sobbing to myself when he does that, or when it shows that. And then at the end too, when he's sitting crying and he's watching his two Kevin is sitting and he's watching his two sons play.
Mm-hmm.
God, dude, it got me, man. Like he's like, it's okay, a man shouldn't cry. And then they're looking at him like, it's okay, Daddy. You can cry. We cry all the time. And he's like, I used to be a brother, and we'll be your
Oh man.
brothers, Daddy. Like, dude, I was like, so, even holding back emotions right now, I was sobbing. I was, because again, it goes back to that, like, what makes you a quote real man is showing emotion, right? It's not holding it in. You don't want to hold that in because it's not good for you. And that this movie is it's that's essentially the message of the movie.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think the last, let's call it the last 20 minutes of the movie or so, everything from Carrie to the brothers to the brothers in the yard, all of it, very well done, very emotional, very well performed. Hard to watch the explosion on, Kevin on his dad when like when I told you what to do or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like grinding my teeth in the like I was like like when he was like jumped on his dad to was he grabbing his neck
Yeah,
like strangling him.
he like threw him
I was like
down.
I was like squeezing my fist and like clenching my teeth in the theater
Yeah.
like I was so mad and
Yeah.
and it just really it like I don't know, that was the impact, the power it had. I mean, I was like jumping out of my seat, kind of like just pissed off and then emotional. Gosh,
Yeah.
great movie. I mean, definitely. I mean, I
It's like a
without a doubt
it's like a
must see.
98 for me. Like this is
Yeah.
a 98 for me. This is a must see. The only thing I did not like about this movie was the Ric Flair promo. But once he got in the ring, and then especially after the match, I thought it was terrific.
Did you not think it was?
It's
It
hard
looked like him,
like
or it sound like
it's
him.
it's hard to capture Ric Flair. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
really, really hard to do. I mean, you can't do it. I mean, there's only one. And I just don't think the performance was that good, which is weird because the other wrestler that's in it, oh my god, man, I'm blanking on his name.
The Sheik.
Harley Race.
Oh,
Harley Race. Thought the guy who did him was really good, but that's my only
very good.
downside with this movie.
I got it as a must see. I mean, right now I have it a 90. I want to see it again. I want to see it again. I mean, I
Yeah, I want to show this movie to Carly.
immediately leaving the movie was like that's my favorite movie I've seen in a month or so. I mean, it
Yeah.
was really really liked it. I mean, and it was definitely. I mean, immediately I knew it
Du-
was one of the best movies of the year.
It's gonna be in my top 5 for sure.
Hmm.
For sure.
Speaking of, what are we doing next week?
Next week, speaking of top 5, I know most people have already given their top 10 movies of the year, of this previous year, 2023. But we kind of give ourselves some time to catch up on some of these movies because we don't
I
live.
know. What do they do? Like we also have other things going on. How do these people watch all these movies? I mean, first of all, everyone's waiting for like recency bias for the Oscars. So anything good, we're not going to release until December 1st, and then we're going to release 45 Oscar contenders
Mhm.
in December. It's hard to watch them all.
It's
I
hard.
mean, I can't.
It's
And now
impossible.
and they're also playing in 4 theaters in the country. So
Yeah,
now I'm gonna have to go
all in
pirate some
LA.
shit.
They're all in New
Pissing me
York.
off.
Yeah, so like we haven't even seen two of the biggest Oscar contenders, which is
Poor Things,
Poor Things, and what's the other one? Jeffrey Wright,
American Fiction.
American Fiction. Still haven't seen those.
We can't see them.
No, because they're not playing anywhere fucking close to us. It's
I mean,
annoying.
let me buy them. I mean, I'm. It's just not. It just sucks that like it's not. It's nowhere. I mean, and there's some other stuff that I haven't seen, but I mean, I at least want to knock out like the ones that I am guessing could make their way into my top 10.
Yeah, we will be making our top 10 next year, or next year. We will next week. We'll be doing our top 10. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
I am
I
too.
have like excuse me. I have my top 7 are pretty much locked. But there will be some there I can see where there will be some moving around. I just like doing top 10 lists because at the end of the year, because they're fun to look at as time capsules because
Mhm.
they're going to change. They're going to change, minus like a couple.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I went through. I mean, luckily, I'm keeping up with all of mine on Letterbox, where I'll put their rating and stuff. So I was able to just kind of copy them down and put them in order, and then I just recheck them. Like, does that make sense? Because I rate a movie in March. I rated a 94. Maybe I'm excited, and then I come back in December and I rate something else a 91, and I'm like, oh, that's way better than that. I got to rethink that. So I mean, it makes you revisit it and think it, but it doesn't matter. It's all for fun. But I love a good list. It is a good time capsule. That's a great point. Maybe in a few years we'll do a draft for top 2024, 2023 movies and be able to cheat off our list.
It'll be fun.
No, but you got anything else for us?
Nope, I am all tapped out, man.
Well, I guess that does it for this week. But thank you all so much again for listening. If you're hearing this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thanks for watching. If you're catching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe for more movie talk each week. Let us know in the comments down below, what did you think of The Iron Claw, Wonka, Saltburn, anything to finish up the end of the year? Have you caught up on the 2023 movies? But with that said, it's been Ben and Walker, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.